today I'm going to be showing you how to sublimate these mugs using the Cricut heat press. The Cricut mug press. I keep calling it the Cricut heat press. It is a heat press, but it's a mug press, the Cricut mug press. So can you sublimate on the Cricut mug press? Okay, so the things that I will be using are these plain sublimation mugs. These are not Cricut brand sublimation mugs. I bought these off of Amazon and they're just 11-ounce sublimation mugs. I got them in a pack of like 36. So yeah, these are just plain old 11-ounce sublimation mugs. I then have the Cricut mug press, which looks like this. It's nice and compact. It's pretty small. So this is the Cricut mug press. And the sublimation paper that I'm using is just the A-Sub brand. So this is A-Sub sublimation paper, and I also got this off of Amazon, and it's pretty cheap. It's not like the most expensive sublimation paper. You can sublimate using copy paper, but you just won't get the greatest results. So I recommend buying sublimation paper. But yeah, the brand I use is A-Sub. And the last thing I have is just a roll of butcher paper. So yeah, that's just what I have, just a giant roll of butcher paper, and I use this for all of my sublimation projects. If you're wondering about the sublimation printer that I use, I have an Epson 7720 that I converted into a sublimation printer. So that is just a regular inkjet printer. I bought it brand new. I did not put the inkjet ink inside of it. Instead, I put sublimation ink. So that is how I got my sublimation printer.
Hello, Editing Tippy here. I forgot to mention that I also use heat resistant tape, and I also bought this off of Amazon. So it is just tape that resists heat, so that way you can put it into heat press type things like mug presses, for example.
Right, so let's start this thing.
All right, so I'm gonna start in Word. And the first thing I'm going to do is just fix my canvas so that way I can put my design inside of it the correct way. So I'm just going to go over to layout and then margins. I changed my margins to narrow because the size of the mug design is pretty big. And then I'm just going to go to orientation and go to landscape. So now I can add my design in comfortably and work around the page and feel secure that it's going to fit and not be like warped or anything. So then in order to add my design, I'm just going to go into insert and I'm going to go to pictures and then select this device. Now I already have all my designs done. Obviously I'm not going to list something on my site without having the files ready for it. So my files are already ready for this. So I'm just going to go into my Shopify folder because, you got to keep everything all organized. I'm going to go into my Ace flag folder. And this is where I have all my Ace files, all the files that I've created. And I want the plant parent mug. So this is the Ace plant mug. So I'm going to click it and I'm just going to insert that into my design. Into my Word document. So now that this is in here, I have to make sure it's the right size. Now the size that I use for mugs is 3.79 by 8.75. So I'm just going to go up here and make this 3.79. And now I want to center this so that way when I cut it out, it's in the middle. I don't know why I like to do that. Don't ask me why. I just like to. So I'm going to go to this little layout option. I'm just going to put it behind the text so that way it's freely moving on the page. And then I'm going to go to position and then I'm just going to center it right in the middle of the page. And since I'm sublimating this means everything has to be printed mirrored. So if I leave it this way and print it out, when I put it on the mug, plant parent will be backwards. So what I need to do is flip this horizontally. So I'm going to go to rotate and I'm going to go flip horizontal, and that'll just mirror the image, so that way when I print it out, it'll print correctly on the mug. So now I'm just going to hit print. I'm going to go, actually there's 2 mugs I have to make, but maybe I can fit the second one. I don't want to waste the paper. Let's see if I can fit a second mug on here. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I was able to fit both mug designs on here. I do have 2 mugs. I'm not going to waste a piece of sublimation paper, so I'm just going to go ahead and print them both out on the same page. So we're gonna go file, then we're gonna go print. And as you can see, they're both inverted. And then I'm just going to select my sublimation printer because right now it's on my inkjet printer. And then I leave all the settings the same. I don't change it to anything special. I'm just going to go ahead and hit print and print it out on my sublimation printer.
All right, and now that I have my files printed out, I'm just going to go ahead and cut these out. My guillotine cutter is cutting off. As you can see, there's a little bit of an edge here, and then it just disappears over here. So not sure what's going on with my guillotine cutter, but it is not doing its job. It's crooked somewhere. Now it's time to wrap the mugs. So here's my 2 mugs and the 2 papers. So I'm going to start with the plant parent one. And normally I just like put it on the table and then line this up because normally my guillotine cutter cuts the correct way. But since my guillotine cutter is acting up, this is actually the side that has to be on the edge. And then the other side, I just have to look at and make sure that it's where it's supposed to be. And I just slide it over in increments. And what I'm trying to do is get the gap between the paper and the handle to be the same on each side. So that little gap, I want to be the same, or as close to the same as I can get it. So this needs to slide over just a little bit. And that pretty much looks the same to me. All right, I'm happy with that placement. I'm gonna take my heat transfer tape. And I'm just gonna start here with a little line. And then make sure this is all nice and tight. I'm gonna rewrap it around, hold it very tightly where I want it, and then tape this side down. And that's how you wrap the mug. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap my second mug with the I'm Too Ace for This graphic. So now that both mugs are wrapped, I'm now going to wrap them in butcher paper. And that is just to stop the ink from transferring from this to my press. I don't want ink stuck in there. I don't want it in there for the next time I do a mug. I want my press to be clean. And as everybody knows, sublimation ink tends to seep. So I'm just gonna wrap it in butcher paper around each mug. And like I said, I'm not really neat when it comes to this, but I do like to cut the edges just so that they don't get burned. All right, it is now time for the moment of truth. This here is my Cricut heat press, or Cricut mug press, I guess I should say. It is a heat press, but it's a mug press. So I have it plugged into the wall. I'm just gonna turn it on, and I'm gonna wait for it to heat up. And when it heats up, it will make a little jingle. Okay, the mug just did its little jingle. That means it's now time to use. I'm going to do the mug that has less of a design on it first. So I'm just gonna stick this in here. I'm just at this weird angle so you can see what it looks like on the side. I'm gonna put it close, and then I'm just gonna snap this close. And then it clamps down. And once that happens, the mug press will decide when the time and temperature is correct, and it will let you know. It will also do a little jingle once it's ready to be released. And that's one of my favorite parts. I didn't really like having to decide time, temperature, pressure, all of that. This just kind of does it for you. So, you know, I'm here for that. Now, it is important to know that this does release like a burny smell. Not as bad as when I used to use a traditional press. I did used to have a traditional press, and it crapped out on me, which is why I got this one. And it does have a little bit of that burny sublimation heat pressy smell, but not as bad. And then I just have this tub of water over here to dip the mug when I'm done. That's actually something I learned from Tana Makes, and it gives you less ghosting. Like when I first take the mugs out, they look great, and as they cool down, they get a slight haze. But apparently that is supposed to stop it, and we're gonna see. I've done it once and it turned out really good, so I'm hoping it happens again. So this will let me know when it's ready, and I'll show you the results. All right, it just gave this little jingle, so you just pop this open, take the mug out. Ooh, that one's just falling off. And then there you have it. That's what the mug is looking like. I am going to dip this in the water. And that's what it's looking like after it's been dipped. I honestly think that dipping it is a better option. So I'm happy that she told me, well, she told everyone about that little tidbit of information. All right, and now let's make the second mug. So here's my mug. I'm just gonna set it in here, and then I'm just going to close it up. And once again, you see the lights all went down. They will go up. They might not always reach the 5th light. Like I said, it's very intuitive, and it decides when the mug has been heated to the proper temperature and time. So once that's done, it will beep. Sometimes it beeps at 3, sometimes it beeps at 4, sometimes it beeps at 5. Cricut does it all, okay? It will figure it out for you. So we'll be back when that one's done. All right, this one just did its little jingle. So open that up, take this out, and then peel this off. I think it looks really cute. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, so now I'm just gonna dip it. And that's what it looks like after the dip. And so, yes, it is 100% possible to do sublimated mugs with the Cricut heat press. And they turn out pretty dang good, if I do say so myself. And if you want to see why we use this, the butcher paper, so this is the sublimation paper. Obviously, it's faded. And then this is the sublimation paper. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but you can see the haze of the design on here. And if it's on this paper, you can guarantee it would have been inside of this ring had I not put this butcher paper on it to block that from seeping inside of there. So yeah, that's why I do that.
You'll see the difference now. If we change it, you'll know how. Nothing ever